On February 20th, 2025, I made a prediction that there would be riots, protests, and revolts by people in the streets as is connected to legislation. And I said that on TikTok, and that video got 2.5 million views. And I said it right here on YouTube, which got 325,000 views. The other aspect of my dream that I had last night was that I was seeing political people creating legislation that would also bring about possibly attacks, revolt, protests. And so here we are. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Kamala Hurley. I'm an evidential medium that's interested in uncovering hidden truths, whether that is with people, places, events, or things. And I will tell you that I study energy. I welcome all denominations of faith, and whether you are spiritual or religious, you are welcome here. In fact, I encourage you to be part of the community by putting your thoughts into the comments below and sharing some of your ideas, because I love us having that type of open conversation. I will say that I'm not very tolerant of people that have only one approach to understanding the world and energy, and specifically to people that want to be quite negative to me as a medium, a channel, and an energy healer, because I am actually someone that has studied from different spiritual thought leaders around the world. I have studied with Benedictine monks. I have hung out with confirmed mystics of the Catholic Church. I've met Jesuit priests. I have studied with Islamic Turkish energy healers. I have studied with healers from India and Buddhist monks, among just a few of the people that I might mention at the start of this video. But my greatest guide is energy and spirit. And lately, I have been very connected to the energy of Mary Magdalene, and I will be talking more about that in other videos because I want to stay very focused on what the purpose of this video is, which is to help us understand collectively what is this period that we are going through, and how are we supposed to speak up and help hold sacred space and hold love when there is so much chaos in the world. Well, it's very interesting because when we start to look at what previous dictators and authoritarian governments had done in the past, they leveraged fear as a way to control people. So the very first thing that I want to remind you of is that you are intuitive and that you are powerful and that your voice matters, and that you are going through an awakening, and that your soul brought you to be here as part of this great awakening. This is going to be one of the most challenging periods of time in humanity, and you had made a soul contract to be here for this experience. So take some of this stress that we have all been witnessing and allow it to unhook so that you can get back to the essence of who you are. Now that I've helped redirect you back into feeling more safe and secure, I'm going to help open up to some of the channeled writings that I've already brought through. And some of the stuff that came through is that there is this link between the oppressed and the oppressors. It is a karmic link that happens, and that it can be released as soon as you shift into a new perspective and a new consciousness of love. And I know that that sounds radically strange, but when we go back to leaders like Martin Luther King and how he was able to approach protest with love and with peace, then allow that to sink in, and hopefully we can send prayers out to the protesters in Los Angeles or different cities where this will continue to pop up to encourage peaceful, legal protest. We need to be freedom fighters and not violent protesters. When I watch looting, I realize that those are individuals that feel such a dark level of disconnect that they are forgetting that a lot of these businesses are owned by small business owners. We are only hurting and traumatizing the community further when we allow others to start to break windows and destroy cars and light things on fire. Let's find a more powerful, impactful way to protest dictatorship or authoritative means of governing through being peaceful. I think that we can actually bring a greater sense of liberty to the collective by choosing that path. And I also want to say that what came through in the channel is this idea that heaven and hell exist on earth at the same time. And that the way that we transcend that polarity is by stepping into the greatest freedom, which is choosing the path of love. So choosing that path of love, while it might seem a little bit cheesy and maybe not so interesting to you, it is a way of evoking greater faith and finding legal means to resolving these challenges, because the darkness will always come to light. I also want to say that part of the way that we can start to leverage greater freedom for ourselves as individuals is through the expression of our voice. Many people in seasons of fear, whether we're talking about the early days of World War II, or if we're talking about this era that we are in currently, 2025, many people were scared to speak out. And part of what I'm advocating for you is to speak your truth, is to use your voice and use your creative gifts to be able to encourage other people to weigh out the energy that we're moving through. Very specifically, it is create your art, build your business, write your papers and novels, write your ideas, and then film your videos. So being not just the witness of what we're going through, but also sharing that to the collective in any means that you have is actually a path through the chaos and the challenge that we are dealing with right now. I will also say that when more people speak their truth, we have a greater opportunity of shifting the frequency of the collective. So understand that energy is a very real thing, and that we need to shift the frequency by speaking our prayers, by sharing our creative endeavors, and by making this world based on the values that we have. I also want to say we're getting ready to shift into a place where these are predictions for what I see is happening right now. And I just want to say that this is based on energy, and that the evidence is something that might be revealed later on, or we might see that timelines shift and these things don't come to fruition, which I think would actually be positive for some of the stuff that I see coming through. So this is getting to the part where it's going to be a little bit more woo, and I just want you to be aware, and I'm reminding you of that. So I actually see that the current energy against immigrants is actually hiding another aspect. There is a couple aspects that this is connected to, because if we think not okay, let me just read it to you as it came through in the channel. That'll be a little bit more helpful. So what I saw is that the war is not just against immigrants, it's actually a war against the common person. That there is much class division that is happening right now, and that it is deepening a divide within the nation. I also brought forth that many people are getting sick from the food that they are eating. I also brought forth that traditional Western medicine and healthcare is actually not curing people of their health issues, but is really just treating symptoms and keeping people more sick. I also will share with you that the workforce and the labor situation is actually not accurately being reported, and that the idea of jobs being taken by immigrants is a fallacy. Very specifically, what came forward is that America was founded on immigrants and settlers, and that we need to look to our indigenous elders for clues on how to step into greater sovereignty and how to protect Mother Earth. I will also say that we need to spend more time honoring the sacredness of our national parks that help feed the soul of America, and that we need to continue to honor healthy, restorative, regenerative food practices, and that we need to continue to work with greater integrity when it comes to food, healthcare, as well as the products that we consume. So very specifically, what I saw here is that you do have the energetics to choose your reality. And that the reminder is that you are a creator. And part of the way to reset your mind from fear is by actually destroying is by actually supporting sovereignty and not by stepping into fear-based revolt, which is like the destroying and the looting of our communities. This is not the way to create a better world. And that actually causes that oppression and oppressor link to tighten, and what can shift our constitution, or at least temporarily, into autocratic governance. So very specifically, I was shown that I'm reminded that there is this vibration chart for every individual, that we all get to choose the dimension of reality that we exist in. So if you can understand sort of like an hourglass, I usually have a sand timer here. I don't have one that I can reach, but if you think like an hourglass, at the bottom of the hourglass, if you imagine that those are the dense emotions that we can feel: anger, grief, loneliness, sadness. And then if we go up to the higher realms of consciousness, this is where we can actually start to feel passion and faith and bliss, joy, love. So those are this vibration of polarity that exists within ourselves, but we can choose our frequency. And as we choose a frequency that is higher, where we understand that our words truly give life or death to our reality, then we can start to shift the circumstances instead of being victims of it. Very specifically, I was shown that we need to focus on shopping with integrity in terms of what you choose to purchase. And I think that there is this collective awakening that's happening when it comes to understanding ingredients, when it comes to foods, when it comes to skincare products, body products, and that we need to focus on choosing products that are ethically sourced, that are local when possible, that we need to support the small farmers, and that we need to focus on organic foods and regenerative farming practices for ingredients as much as possible. But the shopping ultimately comes down to you and what you choose to purchase. I also saw that the workforce we're not being told the complete truth about manufacturing, because in order for manufacturing to be brought back to America, it would have to be automated, because we don't have the workforce or the manual labor to be able to support all of these industries. I also see that for people who are working jobs that are within offices or corporate jobs, that I am guided to share with you that it's important for you to start building skills for your future, very specifically looking at how to use AI within the specific space that you work. I see that these new skills will be very important, and I continue to advocate for 2025 that you find non-traditional approaches for revenue, because I think that September, October, November will be very challenging as I believe that there will be a reduction in jobs. Okay. And I will also share with you that expression and speech are actually critical right now. So you need to share your thoughts, make videos, leave comments, and get your word out there. So it's just another reminder about how your energy makes impact in the collective. Very, very specifically, I'm going to get even more specific, because I know that was a little bit general. So we're going to get a little bit more specific now. I see that Trump specifically, I hesitate saying his name because I feel like there's all these like AI filters that are going to like bump me up in the list. And I have to say that I haven't done a lot of these political style videos because of a fear of how it will impact the quality of my own life. But with the energy of Mary Magdalene, I'm finding a way forth. So, and that's with love. So, so with that being said, I see that Trump will start to be more infuriated through the month of June as well as into the month of July, and that we have yet to witness his full wrath and anger. I also believe that there are significant health issues for Trump. To me, it feels like he has a heart arrhythmia or an irregular heartbeat. I also feel like he's susceptible to a stroke, but if he has a health issue, that he will recover quite quickly and that he will just, I don't believe that the collective will be told, but that he will just take time off of media where he hasn't published anything. So I very specifically think that they're keeping the health issues of the president quiet. I also want to say that what was brought forth when I was channeling is that Trump has already integrated advanced biotech into his body to extend and to increase his longevity. I see an incision at the nape of his neck. I also feel that he has significant GI and bowel issues, and I believe that they are using the most innovative biotech that is available to help monitor and improve the quality of his life. I also believe that in the month of July that Trump will be pivoting back to Russia as a primary focus and that there will start to be an escalated conflict there as well. And that actually connects to Europe, but we can see that Europe is preparing for a intense conflict. I believe that we'll start to see some of that play out more at the end of September, October. It will be interesting to see how America plays into this. I also want to say that let me see here. I'm literally reading my notes here. Okay, this is really interesting. So the other issue that I think is happening with this immigration issue and why they've chosen to stop all immigration into America is because I feel, and again, this is me channeling. This is energetics. Take it or leave it. I'm not saying that this is I don't have physical evidence that this is happening, but I just want to share with you that I'm being told that there is an infectious disease that the US is very concerned about, and they're taking preventative measures by not allowing immigrants into America. So then I said, well, when I was in channel, I'm like, what is this? So the government is preparing for yet another pandemic style event. And what I'm told is that they are preparing for a disease that is Ebola like. So it's a very fast moving disease. I also see it has a high mortality rate. Very specifically, I saw that it has fevers, respiratory connections. I also see that it is connected to, I can't quite read what I have there. I see fevers, respiratory, it's a heart issue. It impacts the nervous system. And it feels like the fall of 2025, winter 2026. And this is why immigration is being why they have such a hard line on immigration. I specifically see that it's severely infectious, it's toxic, and that it is sort of like this new microbe. It's like a poisoning that is connected to water. So I think that this is already happening in Africa and that this hasn't been made more of a point of contention with mass media because, quite frankly, the public is worn out on pandemic. And I find it very interesting because today is June 10th, and Robert Kennedy Jr. actually fired all of the CDC as is connected to the vaccine. The vaccines, personally, from what I see energetically, is that they actually did not have the efficacy that they had promised to have. So I kind of understand why he made those measures today on on June 10th. And so I'm just sharing that that's another piece. Now, the collective attention that we have right now in Los Angeles will start to diminish because there will be a global weather issue that will start to happen. And this is another area that gets highly censored on social media. So please bear with me as I have to be aware of how to communicate. I see August as being a very intense season for hurricanes. I feel that there will be another crisis level is a hurricane level 5 that will happen to Florida. That will cause people to not prepare as much because of the false alarm that happened in 2024. So if there is another high level hurricane, I encourage you to prepare for it and to be on the side of preparation rather than to just think you can ride it out. I hear that there will be another kind of like mass exodus for people to leave. But since you're a light worker and you're here getting this energetic information, if you happen to live in Florida and you see that there is a significant hurricane that is building, I encourage you to take action sooner rather than later. The Philippines also was brought up as having an intense typhoon that would impact lots of the people there. And I also see that in July and August that Japan has a tsunami coming in and that this one will be quite intense. The final thing that I will share with you is that the civil unrest that is happening right now will be dimmed out compared to some of the global catastrophes that we will start to see. I think that's all I have right now. So what do we go? What do we do? Where do we go from here? So I'm going to talk to you about how to return to your own sacred inner authority. I want you to practice prayers or your daily rituals in order to help connect you to your guides, to help connect you to source, and to use any of the tools that you have, like whether they're tarot cards, whether it is journaling, whether it is choosing to listen to music that helps you connect to the energy that is greater than just you. There is an energy that we can connect to, the highest source. We could say God. I will let you name that, whatever is the path for you. But you need to connect to those spiritual practices. It will help guide you through all of the storms that we're getting ready to see for the months ahead. I also want to say that as authoritarian regimes rely on the people who are unawake, the people who play still in the old 3D consciousness, that we need to continue to share the awakening through love and compassion and having courage, sharing our opinions. That is an important piece for light workers, healers, even for therapists, medical professionals, that there is a way for you to help support your clients or the people that you work with, to help guide them back to their intuition and to help them to move into empowerment rather than panic. It is when you panic and when you have fear that you are at the greatest disadvantage. The third thing that I will just share with you is that regulating your emotions really is the revolution. I think that meditation, actually taking time to be in nature, studying history, pre-colonial history, to help you understand the significant teachings of indigenous people around the world will also be a way to help you find that sacred inner authority, how to tether and connect into the land of where you live and into lands that you might be connected to either through past lives or through just these innate desires to travel to. So, for example, if you have always wanted to go to the Cascades Mountains, and you've always craved like wanting to go to, let's say, Scotland or Ireland, there is an energetic reason for it. So it's time for you to step into understanding what that is. I want to say, protect your nervous system by not allowing the news to dysregulate it. You need to stay connected to your intuition. You need to stay grounded in your soul mission. and you need to strengthen your spiritual community. So the more that you speak your truth, the more you build your tribe. And while I am not here to tell you exactly how that will play out for you individually, what I will tell you is that authoritarianism, sorry, an authoritative regime thrives by isolating people. So I think it's important to remember that we need to congregate, we need to come together, even if it is on social media, but we need to create soul-led events. We need to do soul-led online circles. We need to have sanctuary spaces where we can connect. And prepare, don't panic. I think it's really important for you to stock items that you need. I have a survival guide here, totally free. You can grab it. And I have some of the ways to help you stay grounded for 72 hours that include energetic ways to manage through a period of like a blackout. Um, I will also say that we need to continue to discern and to not let headlines flip us out of alignment with what our purpose is, because this is an incredibly challenging time. And I feel that this energy is going to be more intense for the summer. I think there are going to be more heated debates. I think that the conflict between Elon Musk and Trump is not yet over, and that there are also those in the shadow that are working to significantly change our neighborhoods and disconnect individuals from their sovereignty. I am here to remind you that you are meant to trust your intuition, that you are here to guide others back to the light. And the way that you can do that is by being the light. When you choose to heal your trauma, when you choose to open up your intuition, when you choose to live a spiritual life, whether that is religiously orientated or not, you are actively helping to raise the frequency of those people closest to you. So, with that, I am just going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening to me. It's very interesting because when I realized that my prediction was correct, I realized I didn't need to prove myself, that I needed to actually just let people know that they were going to be okay. And I want you to have faith for the future of America. I want you to have faith in your future because you are creating it today. With that, if you're interested in booking sessions with me, or if you are interested in wanting to understand what your past life is or what your soul purpose is, then go to my website, kamalahurley.com. You can check out that information there. And light and love to you, beautiful soul. Let me know in the comments what you think. I was sort of really not expecting to record a video today, but I am just following the energy of spirit. So with that, may you be guided, may you be protected, may you know that your soul is here for a specific reason and that you stay in faith with it. Light and love to you, beautiful soul.